ever wonder what goes on behind the brains of an animated series? What's up? I'm Ashley Bornancin with the Red Carpet Report, and today we get to catch up with the creator and a castmate of a new Disney series called The Wander Over Yonder. You're going to want to check it out. All right, we're with Craig, the creator of the entire show, Wander Over Yonder. You said you started coming up with the idea a couple years ago. Can you tell me what inspired this?
Wander was just a character I started drawing in my sketchbooks around 2007, and I just started drawing this kind of wandering nomadic hippie guy, and I just liked him. I would draw him walking around in nature. And then not a few years, but a little bit right after that, Jack McBrayer contacted my agent and said he was a huge animation fan. He loved cartoons and he wanted to meet me. So I went to lunch with him, and as I was hanging out with Jack and talking to him, as I was sitting there, I'm like, I think I've just met Wander. I think this is Wander. He's the guy. He's that friendly. He's that nice. He's that earnest. He's that positive, and he's that sweet. And I was like, just taking Jack's voice and my drawings, and all of a sudden this character started to develop, and this show started to kind of come to life. And that's really where it all started, you know, and basing it on the character. And you know, one thing I wanted to do is, when I was a kid growing up, like watching Bugs Bunny or Mickey Mouse, I never really cared specifically what they were doing. I just loved watching cartoon characters do whatever they were going to do because I loved the personalities. So that's what I wanted to do with Wander. When I pitched it, I was like pitching Wander. I'm like, I want to make cartoons about that guy, and I want to make cartoons about Lord Hater and that villain, and I want to see what they're going to do because I just love their personalities.
I think that's really interesting. Do you think most cartoons do that? They focus on the characters and you could throw them in any situation?
Some of the classic ones do, but sometimes a lot of people will pitch concept first, or like the idea of the show's the thing they pitch, and then the characters become secondary to deliver that concept that someone has come up with. But I think after you've sold the concept, I think, at least in my opinion, audiences want more. They want to love the character. So when I've been doing my shows, I've always tried to make sure that the characters stand out the strongest, because that's what people identify with. They either relate to the characters, or they find the characters aspirational, or they, you know, it's never the idea that people love. You know, it's like, kids didn't love SpongeBob because he was underwater. They love SpongeBob because they love SpongeBob. You know, they love Bugs Bunny because they love Bugs Bunny. They like Mickey Mouse because they like Mickey Mouse. He can do anything. So I was hoping with Wander we can just do a show where kids love Wander, and we'll watch him go anywhere.
Were any of the other characters, like Sylvia, after other people as well, or did you pick up on little characteristics of your friends or family?
Right. Well, a lot of it with Sylvia, it was kind of basically, it was like, what would be a funny sidekick to put Wander with? So you want to put him with almost the opposite of him, somebody who's hard-headed, frustrated, likes to fight a lot, and Wander has a very optimistic and wide-eyed view of the universe, and Sylvia is a lot more practical and pragmatic. So I think it was just a matter of contrast, of just having kind of those opposites together on the screen, because you can derive a lot of comedy from that, you know, and so that's kind of where Sylvia came from.
Yeah, and you said every episode is a totally different planet.
Yeah.
How do you come up with the ideas of the backgrounds and the situations? Where is it? Are you just walking in a store one day and you're like, oh, this would be great?
Yeah, well, a lot of the locations kind of come secondary. What we try to come up with first is the story. We kind of try to come up with the conflict that the characters happen to be in, or the emotional problem one of the characters happens to be experiencing, and then going, well, what's the best location to set that in? You know, where's the most challenging place to put that? And so that's where the Bee Gees come from, because I don't want to lead with, it's not a location show. It's not about the place, it's about the characters. So, yeah, and we've got a lot of really talented, imaginative people working on the show, and we're kind of giving them freedom to make up stuff and explore the universe. And you know, one thing we try to avoid is, it's not our universe. It's not Earthbound. So like, make it kind of surreal, make it different. You know, we're really inspired by things like Yellow Submarine, the Beatles' Yellow Submarine, and just trying to just have a kind of a surreal world that this can all take place in.
What are your artistic meetings like? Like, I was told that you have cereal vendors in the building. Is it just crazy here?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, we've got a whole studio filled with creative people and artists who still kind of are able to tap into that kind of childlike spirit of creativity. And so it's just a lot of fun. We just get to make up stories and draw funny drawings all day and be imaginative. But it doesn't feel weird to me, because I've been kind of doing that my entire life. And most of the people that I'm working with have also been doing that. So it's kind of just how we live and breathe, is we just are always making up things and inspiring each other. And when you get a group of us together, really good things happen when you get that collaborative process going. But it's a lot of fun. I get to draw for a living. I can't complain. Yeah.
What was your very first job in animation?
My very first job in animation was I was art directing a TV show called Two Stupid Dogs at Hanna-Barbera, and I hadn't worked before. And I came in. They said, "All right, you're going to design the way this show looks." And so I kind of was just thrown into the fire and to figure it out. But again, I got to draw for a living, so it was really great, and it was a lucky break to get.
Wow. For people who aspire to be you, what kind of advice would you give them?
Anyone who wants to get into animation or be an artist, the thing I would, biggest advice I could recommend is just try to find who it is you are as an artist and express yourself truthfully. I mean, you can be inspired by everything, but when you really sit down with that piece of paper, you should be sincere and truthful to who you are creatively, and find your own style and find your own voice. And just put it out there for people. That's what always I responded to when I was studying animation up at Cal Arts. Is all the best stuff that stood out to me was all the individual stuff, the unique stuff where somebody was just doing their own thing and not trying to emulate another studio or another style. They were just kind of expressing themselves naturally, and that stuff always excited me the most.
Yeah. And that's what this show seems a lot like. I haven't seen a show really like this since, like you said, it's kind of going back to the originals. Was there a real need for that in your heart to go back to the classic Bugs Bunny? You said it's very musically inclined as well.
Yeah. I just wanted to make a classic cartoon again. I just wanted to make something that was about animation and movement and rhythm and comedy and just lighthearted fun and silliness, because I hadn't seen a lot of that. And I think one reason that's the case is the current generations that are producing animation never really had that exposure to Looney Tunes. It wasn't something they were watching growing up. And if you look at a lot of cartoons today, you see a lot of cartoons that kind of feel like The Simpsons. It's because that's what they grew up with. That's the cartoons they were passionate about when they were kids. And so you're seeing this kind of move towards a little more of a realistic approach, or just a more of a tactile, like, everything's a little more logical, and a lot of it's based on dialogue, where I grew up with Looney Tunes, and I'm like, I haven't seen those kind of energetic, fun, silly, animated cartoons in a long time. And I just said, well, I'll just make one. I'll do it. I'll try to do it, and I know a lot of people who want to do that, and so we sat down and tried to kind of do our best doing that.
Yeah, and you said just in the United States, you have about 60 people on your team.
Yeah.
Do you recommend always, surrounding yourself with creative people? What is that like in developing a show?
Well, when I was developing Wander, I'm kind of doing it insular by myself and just figuring it out. And the thing I realized is there was something missing. Like when I was developing it, there wasn't something, I was like, I'm not getting it right. And really the thing that was missing from the show was a crew. I needed a crew of other people who have talents that I don't have, who can bring something to the table, and collectively we create something that's better than what I could do by myself. And so, yeah, you're always kind of just looking for those creative people that you can collaborate with. And that's another good advice for aspiring artists, is don't try to do it all yourself. Find other artists, feed off other artists, meet other people, and learn from other people, and collaborate with people, because great things happen when creative people collaborate. I kind of always compared working on these shows like being in a band. Yeah, it's like we're in a band and we're all the different band members and we all play different instruments and do different things, but when we collectively get together and we all play together, something good comes of it.
Sounds all congruent.
Yes, exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I think this is going to bring the older generations back to cartoons as well.
I hope so. That'd be nice.
Cool. Well, thank you
Great.
so much,
Thank you.
Greg. We'll
Appreciate
look
it.
forward to
Thank
the
you.
show. Thanks for watching the Red Carpet Report. If you like this interview, be sure to like it, and for more interviews, subscribe. I'm going to try to learn how to draw. Maybe not.